Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 15th of May. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you an overview that we can all relate to collectively, but please stay with me. I will then explore each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces in much greater detail. Now, as this week begins, so Mercury starts to go forwards. It went retrograde on the 21st of April. If there have been strands of your situation that have felt rather frustrating, have got bogged down, there's been misunderstandings or those inevitable glitches that we get with Mercury retrograde, it wouldn't be a surprise. But Mercury retrograde in Taurus is very specifically around financial matters, but also around our sense of values and self-worth. So it's been an opportunity to try to tighten up in those areas, but also work on making sure that we validate who we are. Now that process is given a huge boost, a further boost on Tuesday, because Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion and excitement, moves into the sign of Taurus to join up with Mercury, the Sun, and the North Node and Uranus. And it's going to be here through to the 25th of May 2024. So a huge journey is set to unfold. Now I think what we're going to see is some initial improvements. They may not seem particularly significant in our overall financial picture because there's been such a headwind that's been running for the last year, which really accelerated from that lunar eclipse on the 8th of November last year, which really was challenging for the overall economic environment. But we are going to see some improvements, bits and pieces. There may still be some creeping up in terms of interest rates, but I think this is the beginning of a much brighter period. But Jupiter is challenged by Pluto, so when we are thinking about our longer term future, we do have to balance our idealism with our realism. Now Friday also sees a new moon in the sign of Taurus, so another good news story. This is supported by Mars. When Mars is feeding into a new moon, the energy and drive of Mars, this time in Cancer, a feeling sign, is linking well with the earthy energies of the new moon. You can see below for my deep dive on the Taurus new moon, but it's a new moon with lots of promise because the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus. This is its second favourite location, and it's very much to do with stability, but it's encouraging us to find ways to try to make our lives more secure and grounded, perhaps by being a bit more thrifty, a bit more imaginative, working things around in terms of existing resources the best we can. But as the week draws to a close, it's a more social set of influences that really start to develop. Mars punching into the sign of Leo on Saturday, where it will be through to July the 10th. This is really exciting. Wonderful for performance, for demonstrating our talents and our creativity. But on Sunday, as the Sun speeds in to the sign of Gemini, the Sun and Mars continue their excellent alliance that did encompass that new moon, but in two new signs. And of course, the Sun moving into Gemini is about air, it's about communication. So I feel that we're going to see a lot of sluggishness that's been really prevalent over the last 3 weeks make way for a lot of thrust-in energy by the end of this week. Also, the Sun's forging an exciting link to Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, the Sun in Gemini. So in general, a lot more communication is going to be arcing backwards and forwards, but in a very transformational way. So I think after a year of what has been quite a brutal time financially, there are going to be a few hopeful signs, but that will become much more obvious in the weeks and months to come. But as this week draws to a close, it's an opportunity to get together with others, to socialise, to connect, share ideas, and be a lot more bubbly. If you're a returning visitor to my channel, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new here, I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, if you'd like to get your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning, please see the link below. So Aquarius, your week commencing the 15th of May forecast sees a lot of activity around the home, family, emotional issues, anything to do with security, your immediate environment. If you've been waiting for news of some kind in this area, Mercury going direct will undoubtedly be helpful. But Jupiter moving into the 4th house could bring a lot of happiness your way over the next 12 months. This could be a new addition to the family. It may be to do with moving all together or adapting where you are, or in some ways developing a hobby or interest from the comfort of your home, which really shows how enterprising you can be. So if there is something that you've wanted to do for some while and expand, and you just need a little bit more time and peace and quiet to focus in on it, then Jupiter will really be very supportive during that time. But also we do have the new moon, which occurs in this area too, and it's linking with Mars. So the following month could be a time of big changes around where you live, a lot of action, but it's all in aid of feeling more peaceful and safe and at ease where you are. So it could be that for some water carriers, this can be a redecoration, it could be spending more time in the garden, linking up with family members in some kind of reunion, or it could be about that property matter. Now this week does see Jupiter immediately square with Pluto in your sign, and that's really significant because we're also seeing Mars move into the sign of Leo on Saturday. So what we're getting here is a fixed T-square, and that does require a degree of care. If you're born right at the start of Aquarius, this is going to show itself the most. Mars moving into the 7th house is all about asserting your boundaries. But if you're someone who's wanted a relationship to come into your life, I feel that that's also going to give a lot of impetus in order to connect with others. The energy of Mars is very much about drive and passion, of course. But Pluto in your sign is about transformations, but it can be about truth. But when we get Mars and Pluto in an opposition, they are very tense together, and because Jupiter can expand, something can happen even on the world stage that is in some way requiring some flexibility, because these three signs are all fixed. So if you are confronted with something that's a bit difficult, and your first response is to sort of dig your heels in, or to shoot back a response, it's going to be important to take your time and not be too reactive or triggered if there is something difficult you encounter. But despite the astrological textbooks, often squares can trigger progress, and that's just a fact. Even good fortune sometimes, even though that's not what you might read. So as this week draws to a close and the sun makes its way into the 5th house of your situation, this is very much about joy, creativity, passion, sociability. So if you have been a bit hermit-like over recent weeks, the chances are by the end of this week you're going to be pushing outwards, re-engaging with others, and the likelihood is be in sparkling form. But I feel that there may be a big issue that does require you to show a lot of determination to stand in your power, not be pushed around by someone who may not necessarily have the best approach, but at the same time flex a little bit, and that can see you through the challenge. And as the week draws to a close, you're starting a period, particularly if you're single, which can be really interesting for your love life or all sorts of social interactions. Now, if you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast and understand how serious astrology can help guide your future, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can produce for you your life roadmap report. This will help you to gain a much closer understanding of the patterns that have been playing out in your life thus far, but also capitalize on opportunities more effectively, but also deal with some of the challenges better. But also within my special package of 30% off, you can get your 12-month personal forecast. This will give you searing insights as to what to expect in the months to come. If you don't know your time of birth, please give me your date and place, and I can produce for you my solar package based on the sun. And if you enjoy relating to zodiac forecasts on YouTube through your sun, these will make perfect sense. And just like my other package, there is 30% off if you buy the forecast too. Please see the link below for more.